Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Hell Let Loose. It feels strange doing this video. If you're not across it, I generally cover indie games. I cover everything, to be honest. I'm an eclectic variety gamer, not too hardcore, arguably hardcore in my casual gaming habits. However, there is an exception to that rule, and that exception is Hell Let Loose, a game that I almost as a rule do not cover on this channel. And yet, it's my most played game in my Steam library by an absolute country mile. Having a look now at the Steam stats, 2,307.5 hours played, apparently. And I'm sure that's going to change over the course of this weekend because I usually jump on the nights on the weekend. So why am I covering this? Why not, right? At the moment, the Steam summer sale is on and I'm just going to punch out a whole bunch of videos of games that interest me because I'm not really limited, right? Everything's on sale, just about. So between this and my second channel, which you should check out, we're kind of just punching out a bunch of videos about cool games that are on sale that I think you should check out. So Hell Let Loose is a bit of a no-brainer. And look, just to close off that background, I kind of hide in Hell Let Loose. Most people in that community don't know that I have this channel or that I do these videos, and I like keeping it that way because, yeah, right, I'm not a million sub channel, but you do get nut jobs find you and follow you around and cause trouble and then send you death threats and all that sort of great stuff as well. Like, it happens at my level, and it happened when I was smaller than this. But bugger it, we'll put this video out anyway because there's a reason why I'm addicted to this, why this is my Dota. And it might not be apparent as well. We've discussed in the past, I've got a military background, and that yet I'm not a military gun nut person. Most veterans, actually, I've found in my life, are kind of the same way, right? Oh, what's your favorite scope or bloody gas block attachment? I don't care, mate. It's a hammer for hitting nails. That's how it always was for me and for most people that I ever served with. So I'm not necessarily in this because it's a mil sim. I don't play a lot of mil sims. I've tried some. Armor Reforged is pretty cool, and I like it for similar reasons to why I like Hell Let Loose. But it's kind of the stuff that's not mil sim that really appeals to me, and I feel appeals to a lot of people. Hell Let Loose sits in this really unusual spot between what you would probably call mil sims and then what you would call whatever the fuck Call of Duty is now, right? Running around in Nicki Minaj skins, constantly sliding, doing 360 no-scope headshots, right? I'm too old for all that crap, and I would even argue younger Scarlett that played Counter-Strike probably was too old for that stuff as well. That Adderall-riddled flick shot shooter type thing. I'm glad it exists and I'm glad there's an audience, but that's just not me, right? However, like I said, on the other end of the scale, you have mil sims, which often they're a little bit more indie, a little bit more niche, a little bit more broken. Like the running joke with most of the Armor games is just how much of a bloody mess they are in their netcode for so long. And so you have Hell Let Loose that sits kind of in between. It's more hardcore in a way than most shooters that you would experience, and yet it's gone for a more arcadey approach. So it sits in this middle ground where you are rewarded for team-based tactics and squad movement and communication, and that's, if I can say, where my strength lies. I'm not necessarily like a headshot king or anything like that, but I can get on the microphone and lead a squad of randoms, and we can absolutely carry our part of the game. So it rewards that kind of behavior, but at the same time, from Billy Bob on the rifle that's not really interested in leading you to victory and just wants to shoot the bad guys, you have some of the most epic cinematic shooter experiences that I've actually experienced ever anywhere. You'll have these bombing runs and tank fight spectacles, and yeah, occasionally you're going to have scenarios where you're running for a couple of minutes and then you get shot in the head out of nowhere and you have no idea. But you're going to have other times where you're in the trenches begging and screaming with the boys while a bombing run goes over and hoping it only blows up that guy over there and not your trench. And from that reenacting Band of Brothers and Saving Private Ryan kind of perspective, there is absolutely nothing that comes even close to this. There is another game called Postscriptum. I think they renamed it to Squad 44. People have quizzed me on this before and said, well, why isn't that successful and why is Hell Let Loose successful? Or will Postscriptum take over? And to which I would argue, if you refer back to my example of this sitting in between, this more hardcore than COD and yet more arcadey than Armor middle ground, Postscriptum's sort of trying to insert itself in between Hell Let Loose and Armor, like it's more hardcore again. And I think that they just don't really get it. And it might be doomed as long as there's still a Hell Let Loose player base and an Armor player base. I don't really see much happening with Squad 44. But let's stay on topic. So Hell Let Loose, it's a World War II shooter simulator thing. Huge 100-man server, 50 versus 50. The basic mode, which is called Warfare, is this idea of controlling kind of a reverse tug of war over control points along the length of the map. They'll be splattered, 5 from one end to the other with a neutral one in the middle. There's a square that you can inhabit around the outside to cap, but also there's a circle where it's double strength. There's some randomization, not in the maps per se, but in the placement of those control points. You might have ones all along the top edge of the map if it's going from left to right, or some mix in between. And you're essentially just trying to put cap weight into the cap sector. More of my dudes versus their dudes, and we're going to cap the point. And this goes back and forth until either the clock runs out or you're 5-0 one team. It's actually not very complicated. And within this environment, you have little squads. Let's just stick with infantry for the moment. They're 6-man squads. You'll have a squad leader running it. Each of those blokes has like a radio channel for push to talk. You also have local, so you can tie in with random blokes running past. If you want to warn some dude he's going to get shot by a sniper or whatever. And the squad leader is also part of a master channel, the command channel, in which way he can tie in with other squad leaders and coordinate efforts. And your squad leader, he places down what's called an OP. It's basically a squad-based spawn point. There's some limitations on where you can put it, but generally speaking, as a rule, each squad has this umbilical tether through the OP that they play off of, right? And so it's on him, and again, I'm a bit more squad leader centric because that's what I pretty much only play. But from his perspective, he needs to police that, make sure the OP's up. If an enemy walks near an OP or vice versa, you can hear the little radio. You can hear where they're spawning from, the little snakes. So you run up and you just touch it basically, and the OP deletes. So he needs to police that, so when people bleed out and die, they can spawn with the squad and stick together. You're probably seeing a picture here that's why I love it so much. That's why I thrive, because I love the sound of my own fucking voice. If you're good at running the boys, running a group of guys that, let's be honest, they all bought it on sale or whatever. They paid for this because they want to play Band of Brothers, right? And in my own way, that's what I give them. But beyond me, we have a really good community. I know in OCE, we've got a lot of different clans trying a lot of different things. You've got Big D, they've been around since bloody forever. They seem invincible. Clans come, clans go, but those dudes just quietly chip away and they kind of hold the market share of a lot of players, I think. Chimera's having the best time that they've ever had, and they're running a lot of different servers, and I know a lot of guys from that clan and a lot of people that have moved in, especially in recent times as other clans have collapsed. I kind of don't run with a clan. I just keep to myself and do my own thing. But you get to know each other in the community, and they're all a pretty good bunch of blokes, probably who I'd suggest to check out at the time of this video. GBI's still kicking around, Gary Busters, they keep to themselves, but I think they're doing alright. And then you've got some other guys trying new things, some fresh blood coming in, starting up some weekend warrior things, but generally speaking, if you do actually want to take it beyond meeting randoms like me on the field and shooting a friend request. That's what I do. I just shoot them to anyone that squads with me and seems like a good trooper and gets into a bit of soft role play, not intentionally going out of my way, but when everyone's like, dude over there on your 6 and look east at 60 meters, and when people get into it and turn on, it's good fun. There's nothing really like it. Again, reference the fact that I play this almost weekly, if not daily, regardless of what I'm supposed to be reviewing. But yeah, look, it's not supposed to be a huge exhaustive video. It is a little unique because, as I said, it's not something I actually really do content for. I've gotten to know quite a few content creators over the years that, that's fine. Occasionally I've done 1 or 2 videos or clips and that sort of thing, but generally speaking, it's almost like separating work from play in a weird gamer-centric kind of way. The one thing I would suggest is just get in there, be happy to use the microphone. There are some bad egg loser stoner bros that'll scream at you and all that, but I think that's in every single game. But we're talking like a 1% of the time. For the most part, it's a good, warm community of a game that kind of refuses to die and is going as strong as ever. And I think truly it's because of that core appeal. Just hardcore enough to offer people that want something a bit more, and yet still staying fairly mainstream accessible with absolute cinema moments in pretty much every game that you play. So yeah, pick it up, jump on, give it a go, brave up and start talking into the microphone, and before you know it, you'll probably fall in with a clan or a group in the community that will teach you all the obtuse stuff about this game that it doesn't really teach you very well. This is absolutely not a single player endeavor, and while you might go in on it on your own, I think you'll find there's a lot of really positive community sentiment and just generally good friends that you could make playing what to me is one of the best multiplayer games going on PC at the moment. Anyway, that's just my quick little video letting you know that it's there, that it's cool, that Scarlett plays it a lot, and it's on dirt cheap sale. You should give it a go and shoot me a friend request. Anyway, team, might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.